Welcome to the Transparency, episode 8, Sunset Secrets. Tonight's episode is a quick one, but it's a bombshell. Chris, you're good. Chris, no need to apologize. I'm going to give people a chance for their notifications to get through. But again, you guys are here for it, and I'm here to bring it to you. True the Transparency, my name is Lana, and I will be your host this evening, as always. But this is episode 8, season 2, Sunset Secrets, Against All Odds in ALIQUIPPA. Following the Jamie Brown, Officer 9 case. Tuesday's follow-up will have lots of information, lots of recaps, and an Excel spreadsheet, which how can you not love that? The only thing I think is better than an Excel spreadsheet would be a whiteboard, which tonight I thought about bringing out for my 6:30 event. What's up? Allie 79. Ooh, pretty girl. Hey Lana, I just wanted to apologize in case my super drunk email actually made it to you. I'm sure it was weird. I'm so sorry. If it did, I must have short-term memory loss, but I think that you came back for a reason, and you're in chat, love, which means I didn't block you, so have at it. Okay. Gonna start in 1 minute, 15 seconds. What's up, MD? Are we actually live again? Yes, everybody just loves when I'm live, so I don't really have a voice, but that's okay. Crystal, hi. Mike Drop a Mama. Mike Drop a Mama thought that 6:30 episode was fire. It's because it fucking was. Okay. Okay, so guys, I'm proud to bring you, here it is, ready? The chain of events of the crime as detailed and explained by witnesses, evidence, and the witness evidence that contradict, conflict, and prove a different fact or facts than what the state and its witnesses submitted to the jury and painted to the public. It said that on March 15, 2001, Officer James 9 was doing a foot patrol round with his magnetic time wand at 265 Linmark Terrace at 8:10 p.m., where he was found shot to death shortly after, only feet away. Evidence show he, in fact, registered the wand at apartment 265, and there was recorded evidence at trial showing he traveled to the opposite side of the row of homes attempting to further his rounds, but obviously he was directed backtracking towards the front of apartment 265 where he was found deceased. This is the part where Jamie has done an amazing job with his case, but never took into account that they swiped the wand magnetic stripe after he was dead. I'm going to repeat this, and what Jamie and the rest, I believe, of the world, saw things, but nobody took into account of the magnetic wand being swiped after he was dead. The chain of events of the crime, as detailed and explained by witnesses, evidence, and the witness evidence that contradict, conflict, and prove a different facts than what the state and its witnesses submitted to the jury and painted to the public. It said that on March 15, 2001, Officer James 9 was doing foot patrol with his magnetic time recorder wand at 265 Linmar Terrace at 8:10 p.m., where he was found shot to death shortly thereafter because they were putting his time of death at 8:15 due to the card being swiped at 8:10. And there was recorded evidence at trial showing he traveled to the opposite side of the row homes attempting to further his rounds, but obviously was directed backtracking towards the front of the apartments because he is believing and thinking that that time and that swipe was in fact Officer 9 doing it. Now, according to Jamie, this is why he believes what he just wrote there. This is his words. This is his investigation that he did and submitted. He's done so much work for his own case over the course of 20 years. Okay. So he's giving that statement and he's like, this is now the evidence that would, quote unquote, contradict everything that the state wants you to believe. This is what Jamie Brown has done. Sub Dorothy. Jamie Brown took his discovery and dissected it. No doubt about it. He referenced everything that he got with a page number and however many pages it spanned. And it's hard to look at this and just not like feel some type of way. Just this is the words, this is the work of an innocent man doing everything that he can to get out of prison himself. And then asking for like people that this is what you do for a living. Can you please help me? Like I kind of now know what that's like because I'm doing my own lawsuits against people, but I'm having to do everything myself. And I just know that I know for a fact if I had a lawyer doing it, like, but okay. Number one, the interview of Jackie Renee Crum. She stated on 3/15/2001 at the time of the crime, she had heard shots outside of her apartment, which is in the row of the crime scene. And when she looked out the window, the only person she saw was her neighbor, or quote unquote Carol Lee, who was walking towards her apartment 265. And that was from the discovery page and transcripts 478. Number 2, on 4/18/2001 and 4/23/2001, the interview of Carol Lee, which were from pages 212, 255, and 340. She stated shortly after 8 p.m. on 3/15/2001, she was walking on the sidewalk closest to the playground towards her apartment, 265. But as she passed the second or third apartment, 261 and 262, she heard 4 shots, 2 shots at a time, that she knew were close and ahead of her, so she walked back to her car. She stated she didn't see anybody, and she knows Darnell Hines, but she didn't see him that night. Again, this is Jamie doing his own, what he thinks, and why he thinks that the state got it wrong, obviously. B, she stated she didn't see anybody. She knows Darnell Hines, didn't see him that night. Number 3, 5/10/2001, or 5/10/2001 and 8/2/2001, the interview of Richard Philippi, which is the van guy. Pages 301, 302, and 480. A, he stated on 3/15/2001, he and his friend Gordon Milligan and his girlfriend was on Linmore Terrace in the area in front of apartment 293, where they had accidentally locked the keys in the van they were driving in. He stated he walked to the substation, apartment 251, at 8 p.m., where he talked to Officer Nime about helping him unlock the van door. He stated 15 minutes after talking to Officer Nime, he heard 6 gunshots. Then, shortly after, he saw a bunch of young kids running from the area of the substation playground towards Linmar store. He also saw a young teen girl screaming and crying in the middle of the road. He stated that Jim McTaggart showed up shortly after when a quote-unquote blue unmarked police car drove by and spoke. Now, Jamie is using everything as is, like it is fact. Jamie asked me one question very recently. What time do I think Officer Nime was shot? And I said 7:45. He stated that 5/9/2001, the interview of Gordon W. Milligan, he stated on 3/15/2001, at the time of the crime, he and Richard were standing outside on the road in front of the 290 block of Linmar Terrace, waiting for the Jim and them to unlock the van they were riding in, when they heard 5 to 6 shots. He said he saw no one moving around before or after the shots besides a blue unmarked police car shortly after the shots. 5/3/2001, interview of James McTaggart, who's owning the van, page 20 or 284. And this is from his witness statement. He stated on 3/15/2001 at around 8 p.m., an employee called him, advising him that he locked the keys in the company van. He stated he called for assistance, then traveled to Linmar, where the van was. When he got there, Gordon and Richard informed him that they heard 5 shots, then saw a blue unmarked police car. 4/19/2001, Miss Johnson, she stated on 3/15/2001 she was walking from Linmar store with Maya, Tierra, Adrena, and Chantel when they heard shots. They were by the Linmar steps. She stated she saw Foster, Tiki, Latoya, and Matthew on the basketball court. She stated she saw a blue car go by as it turned and went down the hill, and she did not see Darnell Hines. But saw 2 black males run up to the Wanamaker's house. He goes on and on and on. Just like I did. And I'm stopping here, and we'll be picking up some parts of what Jamie, everything that he did with his own investigation. But immediately when I saw the first, remember I told you guys there was the evidence that came back. I couldn't remember if it was 8:12 p.m. or 8:10 that the swipe happened. It was 8:10, and Jamie never took into account the fact that this could have been swiped and happened after he was dead. Now, and the reason being is because Jamie has, in my personal opinion, nobody ever wants to think that an officer, you know, if you're corrupt or not corrupt, it doesn't matter, but you're not going to kill somebody. You're not going to take somebody's life. Versus like, you know, people that he knows personally that have taken someone's life before. Okay. Now, during Jamie's post-conviction process, a gentleman comes forward and writes letters to Miss Erica P. Kreisman, who's his attorney, okay? And here we go. Whew. Hello, I received your letter today dated for 2/5/2013. Please let me say I have wrote to Mr. Small. I am enclosing his letter, and as I have said to him, he does not represent me, so I am afraid he would use my name and say to the wrong people, they killed before. As to you, I will tell you everything. As far as writing it, I have only 2 pieces of paper left and no money to get anything. Sorry. Plus, I am afraid because I spoke to the state police and was put in jail over talking to them. I know for a fact they would react towards me, so can you get me protection? Because when we talk, it is all coming out, every bit, even to the part of snatching me by my shirt collar the next day. Also, can you get the FBI to come with you? Because the cops that done this are going to come after me, and I'm afraid of that because I have already had request slip that I wrote to the unit manager about Mr. Small setting me up a call so we could speak. Can you also do this so that I know that when you're going to come here and who is coming with you? Miss Erica, please know I'm so sorry for not telling you when we met at Beaver County Jail. Fear can do a lot to a person, and so can lies. I know here is this for now. Okay, the first letters of the names. T, D as in dog, T as in Tom, D as in dog, S as in Sam, P as in Paul, and W as in Walter. So T, D, S, P, W. Let me show you guys something. Like that. T, D, S, P, W. And then underneath it was A, B, C. Okay. Now, sincerely, blank. Prior to this 2013 letter, there was a letter wrote on November 13th, 2004. Okay. same type of references. But the thing to notice here is the dates. 2004, so Jamie, the murder was in 2001, the trial was in 2002. You got 2004, and you got a letter here in 2013. Same person. Okay. Whew, here we go. So sad. Now, please understand, Miss Baldwin, when I say I have given you the truth, because I have, I don't know as to how much you're staying in touch with Jamie's attorney or anyone else helping in this case, but I'm asking you to please find out exactly what kind of help the state can give to me for the information that I can set Beaver County upside down, along with the real killings of James Nime. I have said to Miss Erica and to Mr. Small, I don't trust Mr. Small. They were both supposed to have the state attorney general come and see me, and I have yet to speak to anyone but Mr. Small. And I can verify that because our calls are all monitored. And I honestly feel that Mr. Small is the reason I have not spoken to anyone. I just hope and pray that you are speaking to the attorney general. If so, I wish you would send him my way. Then all the cards will be face up on the table, all 52 of them. But I would really like to know from whatever powers you are getting help from, can and will do to help me out. I would like to have that in writing and also notarized. But I'm also begging you, please don't let them put my name out in public for now, please. Because to be quite honest with you, and yes, I know that people and could still get into their heads as to where they would tell all and blah, blah, blah. Please stay in touch and please find out if you have answers to my questions. I really need you to protect me. P.S. Let Jamie know this will be over soon and he will be home soon. Now, I was staying at Pat's apartment and would go and meet Sonia and one of her friends at Fredericks in Moon Township. She told Pat and I that she was called and told to call off that night, the night that James was killed, by Tommy and Edgel. So she did. That is when I found out that her and Pat was together that night, and that is why I couldn't get in touch with Pat. But from that point on, Pat wouldn't let me out of his sight. Now I'm at my part-time job in Beaver Falls, the Monroe Muffler. I got a page on my pager and a call on my cell phone. It was the state police. I'm sorry I got ahead of myself. A few nights before I was arrested over lies, Pat had a little get-together at his place. Tommy, Sonia, Edgel, they were all there, and me. We were drinking, and Tommy started running his mouth. He said that he had to shoot him twice because when he shot the first time, he fell and was kicking around, so he shot him the second time. Edgel took the gun and kept it. It is a service weapon. And after he said that, he patted me on the back and on the shoulder and said, anyone that speaks about this, they are going away for a long time. Now, at my part-time job, when the state police paged me and I called them back, they came and questioned me. While we were talking, Pat was on the phone with Sonia and Tommy, and I got picked up shortly after. But anyways, Pat, Sonia, and myself talked several times before I was arrested. Sonia, Tommy, and Edgel all took lie detector tests and failed them. I found out that the night I spoke to Sonia is is the department parking lot I was on videotape. Now, as to the truth to that, I have no idea. And if I was videotaped, oh well. Now, Mr. James 9 was getting ready to tell all about the corruption in ALIQUIPPA, the police department in Beaver County. That is all so proven in fact. But it was aimed at a few ALIQUIPPA cops. When I was interviewed by Miss Erica, she told me that she only had 3 people say the same thing to her, 2 others and me. No, I didn't tell her everything because I was afraid, and fear goes a long way. And I am very, very, very sorry for that, because I should have spoke up sooner. And even the state police didn't take very good notes either. Now I will send you what you are asking for. So, which was, Jamie is not guilty. That is so fact. So there are 4 names you need to know. And now going back to the TDSPW. And then the letters A underneath A, B, C. Well, he says that you need to know Pat, Sonia, Dave, Tommy. Pat is no longer at Bridgewater, which was the B underneath the P is the B. Sonia was with ALIQUIPPA, that's why there's an A. Doug Edgel was an A underneath his name. Tommy was with ALIQUIPPA, there was an A under that. But then we get to this W. And in his letter, the W is never accounted for. Till Lana came along. There's a W with a C under it. Okay. Tommy, Doug, Sonia, A, all ALIQUIPPA police officers. P is Pat. He's with Bridgewater. Okay. He also worked part-time at the muffler place. And now the W. With a C underneath it. I went to the name of the person's entering scene log. And to complete the most able setup, frame job, hide the truth. What more could you ever want than police officers doing it for you, and possibly, well, the coroner, the C. Could that stand for coroner? Well, maybe. Well, what's the coroner's first name? Wayne. W. Could it be Coriopolis? Sure. Could it be? But I came across that the C could possibly be coroner. And then I looked at who the coroner, I should say coroners, because him and his junior, there's Wayne and Wayne Jr. Again, he said the first names were this. Now, that's just my guess. That's me guessing. Am I right? fuck, who knows? Now, Miss Baldwin, I have no reason to lie to you, ma'am. And I just hope I can help. And yes, ma'am, I really feel that by my talking to Sonia was wrong because it gave Tommy, Sonia, and Edgel their cover up. And yes, ma'am, I feel very terrible about it. But please believe me when I say Jamie is not guilty. You can set up a video conference so we can talk and go into more detail if you would like. Just contact this person at the yada, 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 yada. They wouldn't even hear it. They wouldn't even, you know, they just keep denying. That never got to see the day of light. Yes. Like, again, I'm just saying, could that be it? Sure. I mean, it lines up, but that's me. But the other letters, no. I did a couple, I looked in to see if this gentleman really worked at Monroe Muffler, which he did. And then I also went and looked to see, did anybody work at Monroe Muffler? And Pat did. So is this guy lying about, you know, the people that he saw? Is he lying about, you know, won't have a hearing? They didn't let that happen though. He was picked up and the rest is history. Just whoop, gone. Just like it never happened. The jury never saw any of that, obviously. Now, I do want to say this. If I'm going to have a conversation and I'm hanging out with a bunch of people, just because you're hanging out with me you don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So, let's say that Edgel, Tommy, if they're doing something shady, but you want to kind of do it in light, you're going to have people around that you could say one day, well, you were there, you were with us. If this guy ever talks, your name's included. You know, Sonia, Edgel, all these names, Pat. That's how you get people to. That's how you scare people. Well, if this guy ever says anything, well, we were all together, so he's going to group us in, so you're going down too, type of thing. But for the mere fact that people continuously came forward, and this guy knows a shit ton of information, and it's credible with the mere fact that you can link at least two people, like he's telling you who he met up with and how he knows them, and it's fact. But you're just going to what? We need to arrest him. We need to get, boom, he's out of the picture, and this stuff is never coming to light. That's what they do in Beaver, man. They just, I mean, this guy is saying that it was a service weapon used. And he's basically given the same type of an account that, you know, AC Taylor supposedly gave, or Darnell Hines gave. Except this guy's making a little bit more sense, because people actually saw those officers in Linmar, whereas Jamie Brown was never seen. AC Taylor was never seen. It's just nuts. And then there is a connection, and that he started doing this in 2004, and he continued and was still writing all the way until 2013 from prison. It's a long time to have the same story and never change, and to say that, why has anybody come to see me? I don't trust this guy now because I told him to bring these people to me. I needed to talk to them, and no one's come. And just to read this stuff, and you're reading it in their own handwriting. I mean, it's very, very tough to do. Yes, do people try to lie and cut deals and everything like that? Well, sure, of course they do. That's happened before. But this isn't somebody saying that they heard something from an inmate and it was an inmate snitch type thing. This is the person that was saying, I was there. I was there. Like, their own writing. Like, look at reading all this. So again, finding ways just to, not make sure it doesn't see, the light of day in the courtroom. So who does that involve? Well, a judge just simply dismissing it on just, whoop, nope, we're not even gonna, nope, not happening. Yeah, he gave, he knew everybody's name. He knew what department they worked for. He was connected with the one person he was, gave himself up. He was like, I was on camera supposedly talking to this person. And this is what he doesn't realize, is what they were saying to him. And because that's what happens. Him thinking that he was somebody's alibi, and they could just like, well, I was with him, so I didn't do it. Why is all the fuckerage around the police and everything that happened with Officer Nime? The sad thing with ALIQUIPPA right now is that the police tell you things, and that's what you think is fact. So can you imagine growing up and you have a best friend, and if the cops go out and tell somebody, well, hey, so-and-so came in to snitch, and then somebody gets labeled a snitch the rest of their life, and they didn't do anything like that. That's the type of shit that was happening. Also, in the police reports, the canines tracking a scent, and in the report saying that it just led to the porch of, Derek Cotman, and that he was just like on the porch, standing there. Well, according to my sources, no, he wasn't standing there. He was hiding in the shadows. Because remember, it's pitch black to try to not be seen. So he's hiding. Derek Hotman, again, remember he pled the fifth and did not speak at Jamie Brown's trial. There's police officers that were never called to the stand as state witnesses and, for the defense. Why is he being denied parole? Because he killed a cop. No judge is gonna, they wanted him to say that he killed Officer Nime. And if you're not gonna say that and have remorse for it, you're not getting out. He refuses to say that he did something that he didn't do. Yeah, you're not gonna find anything on this case. On Del Tondo, Atlanta, I'm pretty sure that anything in the reporting is intentionally there to distract from going down the right path to really did it. The Aliquippa Police Department was already like under investigation / whatever you want to parole, whatever, probation. They were already like just being labeled shit. And so Rachel's case, for it not to be immediately taken over by PSP, everything surrounding Rachel's case is just whoop. But the problem with Jamie's case is that we have new evidence, and it's the only way you're going to get back into the courtroom is new evidence, because he's exhausted. Like, he can't go and say he's ineffective counsel, or he can't do that right now. But it's new evidence, which but you still have to have a judge let you have a hearing on that evidence. And the judge retired that actually had his case. Then they discreetly assigned it, and then discreetly basically they weren't even going to hear his however many pages it was. Andrew did a phenomenal job, and I've read it off. It's in one of my lives. You got his co-defendant turning in an affidavit. You have Darnell Hines turning an affidavit. You have new evidence would be Tiki Hayes saying, I did not write those police reports. I did not write anything ever. And the cops are saying I did, and I didn't. They are, that's considered new evidence. No, the only thing that Rachel was she was talking to John Paul. According to John Paul. Yes, they would be. I guess I go back, you could see the episode that I gave and read off the petition that Jamie's attorney put in May of this past year. And like I said, everything was done very discreetly about signing a judge, a new judge, because his judge had retired. And then the judge thought that Mancini thought that Jamie was pro se. And just right there in the first two lines, it says, you know, Andrew's name. I know a lot of people in ALIQUIPPA think that Anthony T. Sweet Smith killed Officer Nime. And if that was the case, trust me, I think that that would be happening right now. That they would, you know, it's one of these things. If Jamie didn't do it, who did? And who can we blame it on? Well, no, the police. The police. And that's just not going to happen. They're just trying to do everything to avoid it in the way that this it has to get out in front of national news. Just the procedures, everything that they've done to deny Jimmy of his civil rights. I mean, fuck. This is Beaver County should be fucking embarrassed, but they have no shame in their game. They don't give a fuck. This will ruin everybody's career that is somewhat, you know, people that are in positions right now. Not only will it ruin their career, but it's going to put in jeopardy everything that person has ever been involved with, other cases. And that's why I said, hey, can you just parole him and act like, you know, but who gives parole to a cop killer? So you're right. Lana knows a lot more. I have to be careful what I can say and what I can't say. Unlike what people try to say, I do actually there's a case in, especially one like Rachel's or anything that would be like an unsolved case. But if you think about it, Gabby Petito, unsolved case right now. The whole fucking world's talking about it, right? But I want to talk about the Rachel Valtando case, and fucking people are like, why the fuck are you talking about that? Shut up. Excuse me? What's the problem? Why can't I talk about it? Oh, you have the problem with it. Well, why do you have a problem with it? So, anyways, I disagree. Everything that's transpired in 7 months, and then again these past 72 to 4 days, have completely. They're going to change for me the outlook on a lot of things, because you don't want to believe that a 17-year-old person is capable of doing or setting somebody up or being involved in any way, shape, or form. I mean, conspiracy slash, I just know that if that would have been Sheldon, if you flip-flop Sheldon and Lauren in the stories, Sheldon gets handcuffed. Why? Because he's black, because he's a guy, because, but why? Last person to see Rachel, clearly everything doesn't add up because it's not true, but hey, and then they put Ken Watkins on leave of absence, and they claim because he was close with the family. No, it's because your daughter's being investigated, and therefore you cannot be in the office. You can't. be talking to other police officers and finding out about, reports. She wasn't dropped off by a bunch of teenagers. Tyree was 26. He's not a teenager. That's the first mistake. And the second mistake is thinking that the narrative is, in fact, what a 17-year-old's telling you the narrative is. So Lauren just got jealous of Rachel's relationship and had her killed. Had her killed? No. If I would want you to believe that somebody else is doing something to you, so therefore I'm so calculated to make that possible and have to watch a bunch of lives that other people in a YouTube community are doing. You have no idea what's going on, but yet you have to figure something out so that, because you need me to think that you're not really you. And you're going to go through all this trouble for what? Why? There's 30 people watching. Why would it be such a big deal of having me think, or that you're somebody else and that you would ever want to blame somebody else for your actions? Think about the psyche in that. You're doing something, but you want to blame somebody else for your actions. Okay, so you would have done that before, possibly. This is what's great. When you want to talk about, did 48 Hours do a good job? Was that a great episode? Well, perfect question right here. How long have Lauren and Rachel been friends and hung out? Well, we have no fucking clue, do we? Okay. If I was trying to hook up with somebody, why would I hook up with somebody in the driveway of Rachel Altando's house if I'm truly telling her to go for a walk because I want to make out or get to third base with somebody, whatever the fucking case may be? No, you wouldn't do that. That's not. Rachel's at her house. You wouldn't tell her to go for a walk. You would tell her to go into her house. Give me a second, but wait, what are you talking about? I'll give you a second. Just go back to the kid's house. What the fuck are you talking about? The only way that makes sense is if they in fact were not at Rachel's house when that happened. And if they were in fact heading to Main Street and then just decided against it, and because they probably had a conversation in the car about whatever. What? She was in the thick of it? Just look at her. She was on Get Marty. She was on Get Marty because her mom called, not because she called. Her mom called Get Marty. Um, the narrative is for the people that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars in Aliquippa and the people that need to continue to work and just run that town, is that Sheldon need to have, he did this. Okay, we couldn't get him for this. Now there's, a white girl that's been murdered. Well, you know how many unsolved murders there are in Beaver and in Aliquippa? What the fuck's the problem? What about the other unsolved murders? Well, we need this one to be solved. Oh, just like you needed Officer Nimes' murder to be solved. Okay. So, well, we're just going to go ahead and the person that we need to take the fall, we'll get him caught up. And then when they see that, oh, he killed, so then he would have already killed. So then now let's go get him. That was their plan. I fucked that up, though. Why is she hanging around teenagers banging Sheldon? Who said she was banging Sheldon? I'm so glad you asked this. Sheldon's never said that she was banging. They were banging. Santa Cola, in my personal opinion, if I was, I'd be suing a lot of people if I was the Jeters and the Morelands. Have you ever heard Sheldon talk publicly about anything about Rachel? And the answer is no. You want to know what I think also Santa Cola is just an asshat for doing? A woman was just murdered. And you quote unquote call her a frequent flyer after she's been murdered. And why are you even speaking out? And then if this is your client, why when Pugh was murdered and Delsha was calling you and the family's trying to get in touch with you, you say you're out of town because you're on vacation. Well, you have a firm. Why is Sheldon being questioned by anybody without representation? What the fuck is going on? What's up with the police report then? Great question. What's up with it? I have a great question for it. How do you remember the event and the details that came in that police report that you were typing it up 18 months later that you can remember? We're talking very detailed information. Hey, you need to type up that report. Oh, let me just go get my notebook that I had 18 months ago. Pull it out. Okay, let me just type this up now. Yeah, he said that she was a frequent flyer. Just fucking stupid. Who's to know what, I have my sources on everything that went down that night. And I think it's very interesting that if everybody thinks that Frank Atropa has all this pull and he talks to the police and he basically runs the police department, well, how the fuck did Frank Atropa not know that his fiance was in a vehicle with Sheldon Jeter Jr. When Frank was at the Super Bowl partying with, Jet cheerleaders? And why would you go to the Super Bowl and fly on a plane without your fiance? Well, because they were obviously having problems because they broke off their engagement. They went back and forth. Regardless, whatever. Small town. How in the fuck does that not get back to anybody, let alone Frank? Then more importantly, was somebody blackmailing Rachel to keep that quiet? But then more importantly, you have a job to do as a police officer, you're a mandatory report. Like, he's a minor, she's a teacher, you have to do something about this. And they didn't. Why did they do their job? Why wasn't Sheldon Jeter Jr.'s mother of the minor that was in the car told about this? I mean, can you imagine if that would have been a girl and a dude? If that would have been a dude and the person was a minor and she was a girl, I mean, what happens? Aliquippa police didn't do their job. But then pick and choose a time when they were like, okay, go get this report done. Why? Why the fuck are you writing up a report? That is not needed. You don't have to write up a report. There's nothing to write up a report about. Why are you writing up a report? And why are you asking for a report to be written up? That's not why. This should be the question. And wait, and who's involved? Oh, the fucking police department. Oh, those fucks. Okay. So they didn't do their job, and now all of a sudden, 15, 18 months later, hey, I need you to give me that police report. Joe Percival says, I need that police report. To Fran. Okay. And then gives it to him and says, hey, I did that report. Okay, so he threw it on his desk or whatever. Well, it's an incident report. An incident report, why are you printing it out? An incident report. Type it up. Hey, it's done. It's in an envelope and handed. Here, I did this report. Well, how many fucking pages is it? What are you talking about? What's protocol? Is it protocol to put Del Tondo and Jeter's private information like it was like a case? No. This is an incident report. This isn't a murder investigation that's like. And then the best part about it is, if you're the police chief or the assistant police chief, somebody hands you something, or if they don't hand it to you, it's on your desk, but then you have to hand something to somebody else. You don't look at what you give somebody? Well, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you look at what was in the report? Why wouldn't you look at what was in the folder, the closed folder? If you were so adamant that something be done and that you have this report, wouldn't you look at the report? If you've been asking for this report to be done, wouldn't you fucking look at the report? If you wanted this report done, wouldn't you look at it? If I ask my kid to clean his room, am I going to go look to see that he cleaned his room? Am I going to look at it? If I ask my employee to clean this equipment is, look at this shit, there's shit all over it, clean it. I was pissed that it looked like this. Do you think I'm going to look at it to make sure that they did what they're supposed to do? And then I hire a new employee to give them this equipment. Am I going to make sure the equipment works before I give it to them? Am I going to like check it out? I mean, why is it okay for the Aliquippa Police Department to say, oh no, well, he didn't do it right. Why was all that stuff in there? What? Like, little fucking baby asses pointing the finger at each other. And it's like, no, none of you guys do a damn thing right. There's no such thing as procedures. There's no such thing as everything that you learned at Police Academy. Forget it. It doesn't fucking matter here. You're going to do this. You don't need You don't need a police report to do it. Was. Here's a better question. How does Rachel get suspended from her job? She wasn't arrested. There's no open investigation. How come Beaver Countyan, how come anybody, you have a girl, you have a woman that gets suspended from her job once the supposed leak went out, when it was Joe Percival handing it to Frankie, and then, oh, well, all of a sudden this runs like wildfire, right? Well, I have my own opinions about all that. I think the media is a joke too. Just because something got leaked to you and sent to you in an email, you know how many things get emailed to me? Why would you put it in print? Why would you put that out there? Why would you fall into the trap that this person clearly sent this to you to do? I have no idea what was in the report. I never even looked at it. What? You never looked at the report? What do you mean you didn't look at the report? Well, in case in case somebody came back. What? Who came in the first place looking for it? How does anybody even fucking know about it? How about that? How does anybody fucking know about it? How does anybody know that incident even exists to ask about it? Think about that. And then Jen's version is that that's the secret that came out at that birthday party / and I call bullshit. Nope. It's not true. So you're going to tell me this. Jen outs this at the birthday party to say, why don't you ask her what she was doing when you were gone at the, football game, blah, blah, blah. Ask her what, And then Frank's like, yeah, she told me. But she told me it was in the Circle K parking lot and it was like at 11. Well, what made you go back and check it again then? Lies. According to Jen, Rachel confided in her, but they weren't even good friends anymore, but she's going to confide in her. And then they said that Rachel had a drug problem. Jesus fuck. But nobody wants to talk about the fact that she went to the police and went to other people like John Paul and went to saying that she was in fear for her life. She was getting death threats and that people were following her. And people didn't want to believe it, right? She was murdered 6 months later. So was she lying? No, she clearly wasn't lying because she's fucking dead. So who are the liars here? She told the truth. And I personally believe that people didn't like her parents, or her mom, and, they were fucking idiots to her. And, ooh, it's a bunch of lies. Everybody that's a Beaver Countyan source lies. Liars. They got to cover up their narrative. That $1 million narrative that's made somebody a lot of fucking money, man. A lot of money. Well, she never went to the police department saying she was in fear of her life from Sheldon. I can tell you that. She was in fear of the police. Then she said also, like, Frank, I mean, I don't know if the police might be a really good. I'm dying. Who's John Paul boss? John Paul. John Paul runs Beaver County. I just think it's so funny that, like, judges and lawyers and other media. This is the best, Chad. Who is John Paul's boss? No, John Paul runs Beaver. Comment of the night. Comment of the night right there. I'm dead. Who's John Paul's boss? No, it's more like, who's Beaver's daddy? John Paul.
No, Mama, don't take the pen away from me.
You guys have a good night. I'll be back Monday, Tuesday.
Da 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 da.
Chad, fucking love you right there, right there. Them's the facts, baby. Who's John Paul's boss?
No, Mama. No, don't take my hand away. Did you get a new lid?
That's awesome.
That means I have to break the new lid.
My new favorite subscriber right here, Chad.
Is me?
MVP. Yeah, actually you are. You're one of my new favorite subs. I want to thank all of you guys for being in chat. Love, especially my mod bots.
Not yours.
You want that one? Here, go like this.
It's gonna go to my shoulder.
Let me see. Let me see.
It's cold. Cold. More.
Okay.
Let's get on my shoulder.
We'll say good night.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Chew.
Jamie Brown was set up. Sheldon was set up. Hashtag it. Justice for Rachel too. And who was it? Chad, MVP tonight. I would be saying the same things if I was listening to this. I'd be personally saying, who the fuck's John Paul? Oh. Lozier, who's your daddy? John Paul. Them's the facts. Good night, guys. Love you all. Be kind in chat, love. Continue on with the God. Love you guys. Peace, peace. You see Jaxie throwing up the peace signs? Good.